Hi and welcome to What EV for what promises to be an epic 250 mile first drive in our newly purchased 2016 Nissan Leaf Tekna. Okay, before we get going we need to point out that attempting a 250 mile drive in a car that only has a 100 mile range does require a little bit of forward planning. The main challenge was going to be working out where and when to charge the Leaf. Thankfully though, this was made a little bit easier once we discovered a neat little app called Zap Map. Zap Map is an online database of EV charging points, including type of charger, cost, when it was last used, whether it's working, and payment methods. It also has a handy route planner that suggests charging locations based on distance, range of vehicle, range anxiety, and a whole host of other useful factors. We'll cover Zap Map in more detail in another video, so it's about time that we head back to Keighley for the start of our 250 mile journey home. So we've just completed our purchase of our Nissan Leaf from Colin Appleyard's Nissan main dealer in Keighley. We're just parked up, having set up Zap Map and worked out where it is we're going to charge up our first stop, so about 65 miles in. We're just taking a quick look and going to record our mileage. So at the moment, if we can get our phone to focus, which it's struggling to do so, but we can see that we've got 103 miles left. There we go, much better focus. We've got 103 miles left on our current charge, so we did take it out for a test drive, particularly around some rather hilly areas around Keighley. So we're just going to set off and see how we fare on our first journey, an epic 240 mile drive back down to Hampshire in the south of England from Keighley, up just on the outskirts of Leeds. I'm reckoning we're probably going to need 3, maybe 4 charges just to manage any range anxiety that we may have. So we're going to stop the video on that and we're going to get underway. So it feels like a nice cockpit to be, maybe not as modern as some of the other more up-to-date Leafs. So this was originally designed back in 2011, so it does feel a little bit dated in terms of its interior design, but actually it's a pretty comfortable place to be. So for our journey back home, I suspect we're going to be heading out of Keighley, looking for the M1, wherever that's going to turn up. And as I say, we've got a charge point booked in around about 65 miles. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we have some clear spaces when we get there, and that we've not already got vehicles in it. It's a bit of a learning experience, this, and a bit of a baptism of fire.
Take the first exit onto Halifax Road.
Okay, so we've got Google Maps giving us a bit of a steer, but yeah, a bit of a baptism of fire to work out how we play this charging game. And to be honest, it's going to be a one-off experience, this, a 250 mile commute. I think our day-to-day commute is going to be around about 30 miles moving forward from here, so really that's where the Leaf really comes into its own. We don't need it for big journeys. We have a family car, so we've got a Ford Cougar, so that's going to be bashing out the miles if we're going to be doing anything that the Leaf's not going to manage. So for now, we're just going to sit back and we'll catch up with you once we've got a few more miles on the clock. So we just stopped at traffic lights about 1.5 miles out of Keighley at the moment. Just wanted to dip back in because what we have done is we've set eco mode on the steering wheel just to see what distance we've got registered on the current charge we have. So it's showing about 104 miles at the moment. Now it's 6 degrees outside, so it's not ideal temperatures for maximising range in the Leaf. Hopefully in the summer we'll experience a little bit more. So eco mode dulls the acceleration somewhat, so the pull away, where are we now, just pulling away, certainly feels a lot more muted, but we're pulling away in traffic at a set of traffic lights. It's absolutely fine, to be honest. So I think we're going to stick with eco mode for the moment, just in an effort to eke out those miles. It's my first long distance drive and we've got about 250 miles to go, so we're looking to stop at around about 65 miles just to manage any range anxiety, but also to make sure we're not charging from a completely flat battery. So we want to try and keep it in what is suggested to be the sweet spot of maybe above 20% battery remaining, and then charge it back up to 80 or 90%. So we'll leave you with it for now. We'll come back once we've got a few more miles on the clock and we'll see how we're getting on. So we've just climbed up a hill, and one of the things that I did notice, we didn't get the cameras on in time for the hill, so I'll show it you again when we get to the next hill, is in eco mode it does feel a little bit underpowered. So certainly I think if you had a hill with a sensible gradient, sort of, you know, maybe 8% or plus, you certainly want to slip it out of eco mode. Now that doesn't mean that you can't get up the hill, but it just felt a little bit underpowered. The cars in front were pulling away a little bit, so I think we'll explore that a little bit more, but it's certainly not a problem, but something if you want to keep pace with traffic. And if you do live in a hilly region, you are going to notice, as I am now, that those miles are dropping just with the application of getting up hills. So again, just going up the hill now, we're still in eco mode, I think. Yep, so we're still in eco mode. I'd say we're probably on a 4%-ish hill there, so nothing too steep, and we're riding at about 45 miles an hour. So it's coping with that admirably. You'll see that we're keeping pace with the traffic in front. It was really when it was a steeper hill than this, and particularly when starting from standstill, that I noticed that. But overall first impressions are it drives very nicely. It certainly feels a nice place to be, and certainly no better or worse than Ford's current offerings. As I suggest, maybe a little bit outdated, but actually from a comfort point of view, and you'll have seen me going for the gear lever there as we were heading towards a hill, so I think that's something that I'll be getting used to moving forward. The fact that it's, you know, clearly fully automatic, just that single gear that pulls through, but certainly a nice place to be at the moment. So I think that's us done on the M62. We're south of Leeds now, so I think we're about to join the M1, heading towards London now. So another thing that's probably worth pointing out at this stage is I don't have any of the heaters on in the car, so that can make a significant difference. Certainly in this Leaf, this is what we call probably the Gen 2 Leaf. So the Gen 1 was 2011 to 2013, and that had a different type of heater on it that actually drew down quite a lot of the power on the car. The Gen 2 Leaf, which was kind of 2013 to 2017, has a slightly different setup. I will do a little bit of research into that and cover that in a subsequent video, but the bottom line is it doesn't take as much juice. Having said that, because I haven't kind of worked out all of the controls yet, I'm only half an hour into driving the car, and to be honest, I don't mind the cold too much. You'll notice I'm sat here in shorts.
Continue straight on.
So yeah, no, I'm sat here in shorts at the moment, don't mind the cold, so it's showing 8 degrees outside. I'm going to make the most of trying to maximise battery range over keeping warm. I say that and then I wipe my nose straight away. So we're on the M1 now. What are we doing distance wise? So we've covered 27 miles. We are showing 93 miles on the rangeometer, and we've lost another couple of bars on the battery gauge, so that's interesting. I do wonder whether at some point I'm going to hit a point where the rangeometer decides it's going to fall off a cliff and catch up with the battery level gauge. We'll see. So that's the Harvester, the treble bob. So let's go in here and have a look. Treble bob, where are you? We'd gone to the wrong charger. The charger that was there looked like it was at the Ibis Hotel, which was great. However, we have now found the correct charger. I was a little bit confused back at the Ibis Hotel, a little bit worried, just to say the least. I'm just going to roll back a little bit. A little bit worried to say the least, because it didn't have any tethered connections. So I was concerned that, well, how am I going to plug my Type 1, Type 2 in? And that's not going to charge at 50 kilowatts per hour. So hopefully we're here. This seems to have contactless. It looks like it's 30p per kilowatt hour. So we'll see where that takes us to. So we're going to just leave it charging. We're going to go and see where we get to now. packet. Almost had a spillage there. That's us back. We've just popped across to McDonald's to have a cheeky burger and some, let's just line you up a little bit better, some thermonuclear hot chocolate to try and warm us up. So looking at the charge meter, we've got about 94% on it. It's thrown about 16 kilowatts into the car. We're at 33 minutes and it's cost us £4.83. So 94%, hopefully we'll be getting there in another, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes up to the full 100%, fingers crossed. And then we've got to try and work out how to disconnect this thing from the car, and then we can be back on our way. So we're going to take a little bit of a minute now, and we're going to fire up Zap Map and just try and work out where our next plot's going to be. Where our next charge is going to be. So we take the first exit, we're heading back down the M1, and then the next charge point is about 65 miles down, just off the motorway. There we go. So we're just heading towards, what are we now? 10 to 5, so we're heading towards twilight. Yeah, that was a reasonable first charging experience. I think it was kind of about what I expected, a little bit of a learning curve. Right, I think she's probably said enough. Yeah, so a little bit of a learning curve. So hopefully the next one will be a little bit simpler, but I guess a lot of these chargers, they're all different networks. So they're all slightly different. They don't all take contactless. Some of them need you to join an app. Some of them might need you to have RFID cards, whatever that is, but I imagine it's kind of like a contactless card again. Not really going to fall into my field of use too much, but it would kind of be nice if there was some sort of consistency, some sort of standardisation sort of thing, so that, you know, all of the chargers had contactless. But yeah, okay so far. So you rejoin us just as we're coming off the M1 in preparation for our second charge.
In a quarter of a mile at the roundabout, take the third exit onto Lotta Road towards A426.
So we're going to follow Google Maps instructions that we just heard there.
Take the third exit onto Lotta Road towards A426.
We get the message, Google. So we're going to take the third exit on this roundabout. We're going to head round towards the charge point. We're hopefully going to find that we've got spaces free. We're coming up to a junction. We're thinking we ought to be changing down gears, getting back into first, but it's just trying to remember again that we don't have any gears. It's just a single gear and we pull away fine. Still enjoying it. It's gone dark, as we can see. The lights seem generally okay in it.
Turn right, then the destination is on your left.
Right, I spy some charge stations. How do we get into this bad boy? It's charge stations, and I'm hoping
in
it
200
looks...
yards, the destination is on your left. LE17, 4HB.
Right, shut up. I'm hoping that we're nice and free here. So this looks like it's just outside of Travelodge. It's a different charging station, but I did look it up to make sure that it had contactless. So I'm trying to make it just as easy as possible on this first journey. So let's just swing in here. It looks like there's a nice pub here as well.
Proceed to the route.
EV only. Happy days. Right, let's get ourselves dunked in. Alright, we're going to have this same game working out which chargers are which. Right, okay, I need to put this back in the park. I need to put handbrake on with my foot. And I think we're done there. We've got 6 bars on the battery. Right, what's arrival mileage? We are on 25 miles remaining, 3 bars of battery charge left. We've done 128 miles, so we've done what? Getting on for 65 miles again. So we didn't seem to start with as much juice as we had before. And I think last time on the journey we finished with maybe more miles, potentially because we were doing a little bit more urban driving then. So we were keeping below 50 mile an hour, whereas that last stint has all been above 60 mile an hour, typically 65 upwards. So yeah, an enjoyable drive. But let's get this plugged in because it's time to crack on with the journey. It's been a long day. plugged in. Hopefully you saw that happening out the front. That seemed a little bit easier. We'd worked out which the CHAdeMO connector was this time. How to play it again, it's a contactless charging station there. So I think it's saying that we've got about 25% left charge on our, oh, let's pop some lighting back on, 25% charge left on our battery at the moment. It's charging at 0.48 kilowatt hours has gone in, and we've been connected for about a minute at the moment. So this looks to be with the Ngini network. We're parked up at a travel lodge, and I think there's a Marston's public house here. So yeah, quite a nice charge setup that we've got. I'm imagining we're going to be at least half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. So I think realistically we better go inside and find something to eat. I think that's going to be the way to play things. So we'll catch you again shortly. Right, that's us back out to the car. It's a little bit chilly. After burger and chips and our second charge stop, the car is back up to 98%. It has 100 miles on the range again. It's warmed itself up a little bit more on the battery pack, so we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bars on the battery. It's not up to the reg yet, nowhere near that, but again, this is our second rapid charge in a row. It's our second leg of 4 motorway driving, so it's all stuff that, you know, earlier Gen 1 Leafs, yeah, aren't really designed for doing mega long range stuff. It's coping with it admirably, but it's not what I'm going to use it for, as we say, local commuting. But yeah, absolutely fine. We're taking our time over the journey. We knew it was going to take a while to get back, so we're going to set off, and hopefully we've got another 65 miles planned in, which is going to get us round just shy of the M25, and we'll speak again then. Okay, so you join us again at 8:30. We've got about 191 miles on the clock, and we've got about 29 miles left on our battery gauge. We've still got 7 bars of heat showing.
In half a mile, turn right onto Manscroft.
And we've still got Google Maps talking to us and directing us home. So we're just on our way to our final charge point. Last charge point, and then it's probably the best part of 60 miles home. So almost there. Been a bit of a epic adventure to try and get our first electric car, our Nissan Leaf, home, but I think probably given the savings that we've managed to secure on this particular car, well worth the effort. So le homme vert, the green man. Excuse me, people. Right, where's the entrance? I see a charge point. This is somewhat of a unexpected location, I have to say. It's just looks like a general pub car park, but I can live with that. People have kindly left the charging spaces free. That is a bit of a Billy bonus. And we're back with one of our BP Charge Masters. Right, into park, turn it off. We've got 29 miles left on the clock, so we will just sort ourselves out and get charging. Okay, so that's our last charge up complete. We're at the, I can't remember what it was now, the Green Man or something in Hemel Hempstead. At a polar charging point, nice and easy again, contactless, not too expensive at 30p per kilowatt hour. So yeah, we've got 50 miles to go. We've got 100 miles back on the charge. We've crept up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on our battery temperature gauge, so the battery is getting warm now. It's certainly not up off the scale or anything, but yeah, I think the constant, or rather 3 sets of rapid charges and motorway driving in between obviously warms things up. The batteries on the Leaf, or the early generation 1 and 2 Leafs, are not liquid cooled, they're not actively cooled, so they do build temperature, and they're only going to passively cool over periods of time. So we've got 50 miles to go to get back home. We're on 193 miles, so it's going to be about 240 miles by the time we get back, 240, 250. still really happy with where we're at. Yeah, so we're going to crack on and draw to a close a rather long day. So we're filming this about 4 weeks after our 240-mile return journey from Keighley up in Yorkshire. You'll be pleased to hear we made it home fine. First impressions on the journey, you'll have heard over the last 20 minutes or so, were really, really good. Positive experience, probably cost us about £17 in rapid charges, so not too bad. Probably doing the same journey in our diesel car would have cost me in the region of £40-ish, something of that order. So first impressions really good. 4 weeks on, still continue to absolutely love the car, so we'll be featuring lots more about the car in future videos, so be sure to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications of all future videos.